Well, Leroy, tell us about your past experience with Florida A&M and also what you see on film from them this year.
Well, from what I've seen on film, they look solid up front. They have a nice quarterback. The quarterback can move really well. Previous experience of playing them, they're going to have a great fan base, and they're going to be loud and they're going to be fast. They're going to be trying to come after us real well, so we just got to play solid offense and defense.
Their quarterback was a Vanderbilt recruit initially and had a big year 2 years ago, kind of down last season. What stands out to you about him?
He has great feet. He's very quick. That's something we have to deal with quick, fast, and a hurry. We can take him out the game quick with the passing, the running, and scrambling. We can really set the tone on defense as a unit. So that's what we have to focus on, really, the quarterback, and make sure we can keep him in the pocket, keep him from running, and we can really keep the game at a steady pace.
A&M's kind of struggled a little bit in the MEAC. You have to go back, I think, to look it up, 2011 before they had a winning record. And you guys have had great success against MEAC teams. Does that make it a sweep for you guys?
No, we don't take any game as a sweep. We just take one game at a time. You know, we don't play just because they're MEAC school. We don't treat them differently than any other team. So, what we have to do is just keep to our game plan and make sure our guys are focused and just take one game at a time.
Going back to that A&M offense, have you seen anything like it so far this year? And I mean, who would you compare it to?
The team I can compare them to is, well, basically A&T, the way that the quarterback scrambles around, because they're going to do that. I know they're going to do that for a fact. But we just have to contain the quarterback and just play our defense.
How hungry do you think they're going to be coming off the Miami game? Because as a lot of those guaranteed money games go, Miami kind of won it fairly decisively, and so coming after that, how hungry do you think they're going to be?
I think they're definitely going to be hungry playing us, like every other team that wants to knock off a top-ranked team. We just have to stay focused and just continue to do our job. And that's going to be their first home game opener, so they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder, and we just have to continue to do what we have to do to win the game.
De'Angelo, you guys are averaging 30 points a game, but Coach Patton has said he doesn't feel you all have found your full rhythm yet. What do you feel about where the offense is at?
Well, I feel like we made some mistakes. There's some things we definitely need to correct. We haven't reached our full potential yet. Make our reads right, catch the ball, run the ball better. And so we definitely can do better than what we've been doing. So the future knows what's going to happen.
How do you feel about the way you started the season? Obviously, back-to-back Big South Player of the Week twice. Are you about where you expected to be so far this year?
I feel like I started off pretty good, but I'm nowhere near satisfied. Like, I always feel like I can get better personally at what I do and what I need to do. Overall, as a team, I think we all feel like we can all be better. So, I mean, I think we're happy where we're at just because, we won the first 3 games, but we all know we can get better in different areas.
What specifically do you feel like you need to hone in on? Because according to the Big South Conference release, you're ahead of Lorenzo at this point of the season in terms of yardage versus where he was after 3 games. What do you make of that stat? And what is it you think you need to hone in on to get it better?
Well, I think personally I need to get better on just my route definition when I'm running my routes, my POAs, like my point of attack, and my reads personally. The statistic-wise, I mean, I pay attention to it really because I know I want to tease Lorenzo about it, but I don't really pay attention to it too much.
For either guy, 3rd road game in the first 4 games, is that extra challenging to start a season that way, or what are your thoughts?
No, I don't think it's extra challenging. It's actually kind of fun. Like me, I never really got a chance to get out of my hometown, so for me to get out and experience different things is always fun for me.
Okay, welcome everybody. Would you like to talk a little bit about South Carolina State? We'll go through the last game at all, a couple of minutes.
Sure.
David?
Yeah.
David?
Yeah.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we will. Just from a defensive perspective, I was pleased with the way our guys play. I think we continue to improve. I think we can continue to improve. But I am pleased with the way they played. I think there were a number of times when we got backed up, we were in a hole, we wound up coming up with plays. So while the defense, I think there's still certainly room for improvement, I'm pleased with the way they played. From an offensive perspective, certainly Hop had a great day. We had too many penalties, and we dropped the ball a couple of times. We've got to stop doing that. One of those drops became a catch, which became a fumble. But we catch the ball cleanly, and we should. We don't have those problems, and we can't afford those penalties because they kind of kill drives and they'll give us greater consistency. So the offense is still kind of in the process, while effective, still putting everything together, I think. From a special teams perspective, I think Austin Kane, our punter, and our punt team had a tough night. Other than that, I think our special teams literally wound up doing a good job. What I was really pleased with, I was pleased with the overall effort. What I was really pleased with, and I'm grateful for, I think the members of our community and the members of our student body, especially our freshman and sophomore class, really came out. We had the largest attendance in the history of the school. I was proud of that. There have been real efforts, both by our athletic department, led by Matt, and our student body, student affairs, Dr. Connor, Dean Overton, to help get that happen. Our players have been involved with that, and I'm really, really delighted and appreciative of what we've been able to see as far as that goes. Any other specific questions of South Carolina State?
Just the offense in the second half, just kind of seems like it kind of bogged down. Can you just kind of go through it a little bit?
Yeah, we had a couple of drop passes. One of those led to a fumble, and we had some timely penalties. It happened back to back and hurt us. I think there were 3 series in a row we kind of bogged down. I think we also did a good job of kind of running the clock out toward the end of the game. And so the comments I think I made kind of pretty much covered that issue in the second half, or those issues in the second half. Anything else? South Carolina State?
How much do you think the enthusiasm you were talking about from the community, all the support you got, is kind of a reflection of, I guess, A, the success that you've had, and B, the administration's ability to kind of capitalize on that?
Well, I think it's a combination of all those things, but we were successful last year. We didn't see much of a turnout at the end of the season. We have not yet been as successful this year, so successful as yet. We don't know what's going to happen there. So I think a big piece of that is the way we're recruiting the incoming freshman and sophomore class. We are talking, President De'Angelo, when he has talks with the student body, talks about, especially the incoming class orientation, talks about, we're going to do everything we can as a university to help you later on graduate, career paths, et cetera. But a piece of that is we want you to be part of the university. We want the university to be a little bit better because you've been here. So we want you to get involved with not just football, but what's going on with regards to sports, what's going on with regards to drama or other things going on campus, community affairs or what have you. So we're actually doing a better job, I think, as an administration, recruiting and encouraging our younger kids to be part of the school, truly become part of the school when they first get here, number one. Number two, I think the Vice President of Student Affairs and her entire group spent an awful lot of time really going after the student body, and I think Matt Holt, as our athletic director, and his staff have done a good job trying to get out to the community and making sure more tickets were available, having a little bit more flexibility there. So it's a combination of all those things. But I think the real reason why we had people in the stands was because of the effort on the part of our student body, our administration, both in terms of athletics and on the student side. Any other questions?
Coach, talk about the development of Henderson. Is he where you expected him to be at this point? Actually,
I think everybody on our team, I don't think there's anybody on our team that is surprised at the job that De'Angelo's doing. Even as a freshman, where he redshirted the entire year, he was very, very effective against our first unit defense. Now, our first unit defense wasn't that good our first year, but he was very, very effective against it. And last year, he was behind Lorenzo, who, as we know now, is playing with the Baltimore Ravens. But there's nobody on our team winced if De'Angelo had to go in there instead of Zoe. So the type of season he's having thus far, is one, not unexpected, but number two, he's only had 3 games. He's got a long ways to go yet. But he's doing a good job, and he's certainly an excellent runner with the ball. And part of our plan is to make sure that we're getting the ball into his hands.
What's your overall evaluation through 3 games? What
And this
stands?
is pretty good for somebody that had no questions except for Damon on the South Carolina State thing. Okay, what's your overall evaluation so far?
Yeah.
You know, I think we get a little better as a team. I think the defense continues to improve. The offense, I think, continues to improve, but hasn't put it together yet. I think the special teams will have one great effort by 3, 4, or 5 of the units even, but not all 6. So I think in the beginning, I think at our very first press conference, I think I candidly said to all of you, that I believe we were probably a little bit better than where we were last year at the beginning of the season. We weren't anywhere near where we were halfway through the season or later on. If you think about the 3rd game a year ago, I think that was the one against Eastern Kentucky. I think that was an incredible victory for us in our program. We were down by 10. They were ranked 19th in the country. It's an away game. They've got a great history. All those things. We wind up handily winning that game. I think that's when the team made a big jump. We didn't make that type of jump from the 2nd game to the 3rd game. We still need to be able to do that yet. If we do that, I think we'll compound our effectiveness and we'll get better as the season goes on, but we haven't quite done that yet. So first 2 games, I'd say we were similar to what we were a year ago. We didn't make the jump that our team last year made in the 3rd game. We haven't made that yet. I expect us to make that, but we haven't made it yet.
Would you consider A&M that game that you're talking about, or?
It's not, it's kind of, you always want it to be the next game. You don't want to kind of postpone it, you don't want to save it. I mean, once you start to do that, you start to click at a higher level. So as soon as that happens, that happens. I hope it happens this week, but as soon as it happens, it happens. It's not like it's supposed to happen this week. You want that to happen, the sooner the better. It's kind of got it, you know, that's it.
What are your expectations to get out of this game as you go down to Tallahassee against a team that hasn't won yet and only won 4 games last year?
Well, I think then we're not doing a good job of kind of taking a look at what they've done. They only won 4 games last year. They have 17 guys returning. They have 9 guys that have gotten preseason awards. Their mantra coming into the season was let's set the mission straight, because they think they're much better than what they did last year. They got a lot of guys back and a lot of good guys back. If you've looked at the film of the Jackson State game, you know, Jackson State won their conference a year ago. They finished 9-4, 8-4. They had a good season a year ago. Well, not 9-4, but they had a good season a year ago. I think they won their conference a year ago. They're a pretty decent team this year. A&M, they're up with 40 seconds to play. They're winning the game, and on the very last play of the game, Jackson throws a Hail Mary, and that's one of those things. No matter how many times you look at it, or as you coach it, it's always possible the wrong guy to come down with the ball. That's what happened to them, and that's a heartbreaking win. By the way, I don't wish that on anybody. That's a tough, painful way to lose a game. So they could have beaten a good team on opening day. They didn't embarrass themselves, I think, against Miami. Miami's supposed to be pretty good. Now they've had a week off to kind of ease up a little bit. We have to travel all the way down there. We're playing them at their place. I have no doubt they're going to be like super ready for us. So the fact that they're 0-2, you know, it's not a bad 0-2.
What's your overall assessment of their team? What stands out to you?
I think from a defensive perspective, they really try to, and we've had some problems offensively in the past with guys that really do a great job of disguising, mixing it up, doing different things, doing all those things. They wind up doing that. They'll pressure a lot, they'll disguise, they'll show a blitz from the right, they'll come from the left. They'll show it in the middle, they'll come from the outside. They'll show it from the outside, they'll come from the middle. They will show blitz, they will be in zone coverage. They'll show zone coverage, they'll be in man. Very aggressive, physical, do a good job kind of getting upfield on it. They do a good job of disguising and mixing things up. Those things can create problems for us. So we have to be a little bit more select, I think, with regards to our game plan in terms of what we're going to be able to do, so we don't have things that are going to get us into trouble, and hopefully take advantage of some of the things if they make a mistake. That's the way we're approaching the defense from an offensive perspective. That's the way from their offensive, our defense, looking at their offense, they run a multiple 34 type, I'm sorry, they run a multiple pro type of offense. They don't do as much of the kind of the motion and the shifts and the changes as what some of the teams we've been facing up until now do, but they do that. We've got to make sure that we're sound when we do those things. They have a couple of guys that can run, they got a couple of guys that can catch, but I think their real threat is their quarterback. If you watch film on him, he reminds us all of, without even asking each other, he reminds us all of the North Carolina A&T kid. Looks like he's in trouble, including against Miami. Looks like he's in trouble, then he wasn't getting out of it. He got the negative yards against Miami because in running around, they got 1 or 2 big sacks, like a -15 or -20. But the guy gained yardage on him. He did the same thing the week before. If you give him an opportunity to throw, he can hurt you. If you don't really have him pinned in, he's not easy to catch. He can hurt you if he runs. But a little bit more like the A&T guy, we tend to run and take off. This guy will scramble a little bit more, looking to throw, but he still has the ability to be able to run or throw. So we're concerned about that. Concerned about that from a special teams perspective. Yeah, they got a couple of guys that are pretty effective. They can return the ball. They do a decent job with regards to trying to provide leverage with regards to their lanes in an effort to kind of be able to crack one. So that's basically what we're looking at from an offensive and defensive perspective. I think the big issue is kind of what, kind of the question that Brandon had is just, I think they had a heartbreaking win against an opening day good team. Then you go ahead and play Miami. Nobody expected to win that game. They don't embarrass themselves. Now they got a week off. And it's still early in the season. I have no doubt that coaches are talking about looking at some of the inconsistencies we've had, some of the things they may be able to take advantage of. This is their time to get it back. This is their time to put it together. They're a good team. They've worked hard the off season. Let's set the record straight. Let's go. I have no doubt they're going to be about 2 weeks to prepare for us. It was a plane trip for us. I have no doubt they're going to be ready to go. It's supposed to be hot down there.